Hear me?
Yes,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Where are you, my friend? Where exactly are you? A listing?
No, I'm not in a listing. I'm in our office here.
Hi, Team Ryan. Hi, Kyle.
We're
Um,
in the office.
well, I know your time is really limited because you're doing a million things. So I'm going to jump right in. I want to talk about everything you've got going on and in the future. Your book is coming out in January. But let's go back in time. March 15th, 2020. Did you have a panic moment when everybody went into quarantine and the sky was falling?
Did I have a panic moment? It was like a. I wrote a piece about it where it felt like we were in the middle of a car crash, like slow motion. We just hit the ice and we were skidding out, and we had no idea what was happening. We were either going to catch the curve or we weren't going to catch the curve. We were going to flip over or we weren't. We had no idea because on March 15th, we all thought that we were going to shut down for possibly 2 weeks because no way ever were they going to shut down New York for longer. But anybody that was from San Francisco or did business in San Francisco, like we do a lot of, have a lot of clients there, they had already been shut down full time for a little while. And so we were, it was less trying to figure out what to do next. It was more just stuck in that moment. I remember, I think we all do, like Tom Hanks has it. Is this real? Did they just shut down the NBA? Is that real? Can we not go to the movies anymore? Is that what is happening? It's
And yet
crazy.
here we are 7 months later, and I wouldn't characterize real estate as being stuck anymore. There are still some things that are stuck, but real estate is one of those things that, I bought a house in March. I moved in May. Crazy times to be making big financial decisions, and yet you're probably having one of your biggest and busiest years
Yeah. Did you buy a house in
in
the
the
city?
suburbs.
Yeah. See,
No.
in the suburbs. Yeah. So
Who's moving to New
unfortunately,
York, Ryan? Who is moving to New York? There's like the debate, right? Is New York dead? Um, what's your opinion? And who's moving in?
yeah, a lot of people are moving in. A lot of people who couldn't move in before because it was too expensive. I mean, New York right now is, probably on
On
average
sale.
between 40 and 50% off the highs. So New York is on sale in a way it's never been before. And so we're doing transactions every day. You wouldn't call them great, but it's still New York, right? It's still expensive property. But a lot of people like you have left and are going to the suburbs. But I think what's going to happen, and you might not be one of them, but Olive Garden gets really depressing on Fridays once that's your only restaurant, and no one really likes raking leaves. So next year, I think a lot of people are going to start to come back to New York once they miss the energy.
All right. Well, give us some advice for people who might be interested in buying right now outside of New York. You don't want to be the fool that bought at the height. I know, like, New York is on sale, but a lot of the suburban areas and the metropolitan suburban areas are like 20 bids, 50% above asking price. If you
Great.
can wait, would you?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I that's not great advice for all of my agents and everyone that I speak to every single day. But I mean, like, it is common sense to buy low and sell high, except that's the exact opposite of what humans do, especially in the United States. Because to buy low, you have to buy when everyone's afraid. And to sell high, you have to sell when everyone says, don't sell. What are you, crazy? And so what do people do? They wait until a pandemic, the world gets turned upside down, everyone starts buying houses, and then everyone just goes and buys one. And people are paying hand over fist. Like in the Hamptons, people are going over ask by the millions and millions of dollars. And it's like exactly what's going to happen is in 3 to 5 years, all of those people, not all, maybe half, which is a lot, are going to be putting their houses up on the market, and they're going to be what we're going to call, and I'm telling you right now, they're going to be a COVID seller, because COVID is going to be this thing in the past, and you'll be like, oh, when did you buy? COVID, yeah,
COVID.
yeah. So you paid how much? I'm sorry. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
You started your career in the Great Recession.
Yeah.
Pairing these two, like, I guess, pivotal times in our history and only like 10 years apart. Um, what was more dramatic? Because, though that was a hard time and this is arguably another, challenging time. what's the same and what's different?
I mean, for me personally, I was not that old in 2008, and I was just getting into the business, and I had, a studio, and I had, my rent was $1,100, and all I had to do was figure out how to pay that rent and buy some food, and I was good. I didn't have any other income. I didn't have paychecks, so everybody else was really, really terrified. But I didn't own any stocks. I was fine. I just thought that real estate was the hardest business in the world, and everyone kept losing their jobs. This is a bit different, but you have to remember, the financial crisis happened fast and then lasted a long time. This happened slowly, and we just don't know how long it will continue to last. I mean, even now, what is it? We're about to be in November. Like, you walk around New York City, and the only way anything is going on is because people are wearing masks. All the restaurants are open, and it's actually really annoying because they're all in the middle of the streets. Like, there are lines to get into every restaurant in New York City now because everyone has gone back to normal, except you can't sit inside. Only 25% of the people can sit inside, so everyone is sitting in the middle of the street, so it's screwed up traffic. And so it's like it's an interesting dynamic, what's happening in the city right now.
Earlier you talked about, if you can wait, you should wait to buy because the prices are so inflated. But you also said, and I'm holding in my hand the article on Next Advisor where we interviewed you, and I think one of the quotes that you gave that really stopped me in my tracks was, "Don't live in the purchase price, live in the monthly payment."
Yeah.
So is that to suggest that doesn't matter what you pay on the sticker price, like, can you actually afford it in your budget? Are you sticking to that, 30% rule that we often say to keep your housing costs flat? If you can do that, is that safe to say you can
Yes.
sleep well at night?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about debt to income ratio. And so whether you're paying 400,000 or 500,000 for a house, 1 million or 1.2 million, the amount you're paying in tax is a big deal, and the amount you're going to pay on your interest for your loan is a really, really big deal. And what kind of loan product you're going to get. Like, you can go to Wells Fargo today and get a 10-1 ARM interest only for like 2.3%. Like, you couldn't get that in 2009 when the financial markets collapsed. Like, it's amazing what you can do right now, which means that people can afford more real estate, which is exactly what's happening.
But watch out for those taxes, right? Because you also pointed that out. That if something is going to increase in the future, it will be our taxes, given everything that's happening now.
Yep. Crisis money has to come from somewhere.
Well, speaking of money, let's talk about big money energy. This comes out in the new year.
Yeah.
I like a good money book in the new year when we're all kind of trying to reset. Tell us about what this is about. This follows Sell It Like Serhant, which came out, I believe, last year. So you've been really busy.
Yeah, I wrote it actually during quarantine. I had to do something. And so it was, it's really the secret sauce, right? It is the blueprint for how to build unshakable confidence in the business world, and kind of in any situation. But what I learned from Sell It Like Serhant is, we've been able to build an amazing sales course from it. We've got an incredible Sell It Like Serhant community, and the book and the course teaches people how to sell and how to sell as an entrepreneur, not necessarily a real estate agent, but how to sell yourself, how to sell any product, and how to make a better income and how to live then a better lifestyle. But a lot of the feedback we got was, okay, I know exactly what to do. I've got this information. I know all the details, but my hands are sweaty. I don't know, my throat gets choked up. I don't feel good about myself. I can't get out of bed. And they lack that self-confidence in the room. And there's a blueprint for fixing that so that you can have unshakable confidence in the threat of self-doubt. And that's what Big Money Energy is. It is my step-by-step guide broken down into 3 parts for how I taught myself how to have self-confidence and how to have the chutzpah, if you will, as a brand new real estate agent in New York City, surrounded by other sharks, when I was just a kid from Texas with cowboy boots trying to sell myself as a New York City power broker.
Is there anything that still gets you a little anxious, or like when you ever, when you, if and when you ever get a little nervous, or, you know, I don't know, what's your method? How do you get confident?
I mean, now, you know, the one thing I go to all the time is I write down two lists. On the left side of the paper, I write down everything bad and everything I'm anxious about right now. And on the right side of the paper, I write down everything good and everything I'm excited about. And I used to get really, really bad panic attacks, and it was something that I used to do then. And what happens is you start breathing slower because you're writing, and it forces you to focus on the pen, and it forces you to focus on the paper, and your pupils, right, get a little bit smaller. So that helps. So there's a physical nature to it. And then just the writing, and then you realize, oh, wow, things are better, things are good. What I'm worried about isn't that big of a worry. Everything's going to be okay. What's the absolute worst that can happen? And I had to do that when I first became a real estate agent. You know, I had to go and talk to people on the street that were total strangers, and I was petrified to do that. Like, how do I go and introduce myself to someone I don't know, who's maybe not even from this country? Like, and get them to buy real estate? What do I even say to them? Like, hi, my name is Ryan. Buy real estate now with me. Like, they're gonna But what I realized is, what is the absolute worst that can happen? The worst that could happen is that they would punch me in the face. That would suck a lot, and that never happened. And so what really happened was a lot of people just kept walking. That's okay, because they were going to keep walking anyway. And so what's the best thing that could happen? I'd increase my rate of return on new contacts that I could have as potential business relationships, and that's what happened. And really got out of my own skin, right, and became comfortable with being somebody who could talk to strangers. And I think that's a huge part of business, back when I first started and now for sure.
I love that. Yeah, no one has punched you in the face yet. But I guess it's always good to be ready. We have a question from the audience wanting to know your predictions of like where real estate's going to go. I know we sort of talked about this, but what is something that you think might change in terms of what people are looking for in homes? Like right now, everyone's doing up their houses. They want the pool. They want all the bling. Like, what do you think a home is going to represent going forward after what we've experienced?
Yeah, I think the two biggest things are the things that people couldn't get access to. So no matter what, everyone's going to have a place to work from. I have countless stories, I'm sure you do, where, you know, people could not work anymore from their kitchen island or from their kitchen table. People are going to need a separate space where they can close a door and have a call, or have a Zoom call, or do a live session, or just read and get work done, and not be bothered by family, right? You need some alone time. And I think people are also going to focus too on wellness, health and wellness. So either have a room or a space where they can do yoga, or they can meditate, or they can work out. So like do a home gym. That's really what we're seeing a lot in New York right now too, as we design a lot of the buildings that we sell. We're thinking about home work and home work out. Those are the two biggest things that people are going to be looking for. That, and I think people too are far more forward thinking now than they have been in the past. You know, I think people would say, okay, it's me and my wife, we're about to have a baby, we need to go get a 2-bedroom. Right? We need more space. Or, you know what, we need a 3-bedroom because we need this. And then they would need to move in 2 years or 3 years, or they'd outgrow it before they knew it. Now, money's really, really cheap. And I think people are being smart, and they're saying, you know what, let me go and try to find something that I definitely don't have to move from in the next 5 to 10 years. So we have a lot of people who are really upselling themselves because they also want the space. And, you know, gosh forbid we ever have another lockdown. I mean, France, I think they either announced it today or they're announcing it in the morning. They're shutting down France again, the whole country.
Yep. Italy, Germany.
Yeah.
We have people here joining us, Ryan. I don't know if you've been noticing, but like India, Pakistan, Prague, Holland.
Yep.
You're growing your business at rapid pace. Is there any interest in going overseas, going global, and even here in the country? I know you're very New York focused.
Yeah.
What are the opportunities across the country, either as an investor or just to get great value?
As far as our business goes, right now the real estate that we sell is predominantly in the U.S., but we are, you know, hyper local salespeople. We're hyper knowledgeable about what we sell, but we sell globally. Our client base is global. We sell all over the world. Our sales course, the Sell Like Serhant course, is in 106 countries now. And so we have people everywhere, which is incredible and awesome. And then as far as value, you want to look into what is value add. So in New York, right, there are tertiary neighborhoods that are great value add neighborhoods that there are plans to improve. So like, for example, South Harlem, we have a project, 145 Central Park North. No one knows this, but there's I think it's $150 million revitalization project for the north part of Central Park. That's going to make the northern part of Central Park probably the best part of Central Park within the next couple of years. That is huge. That's huge for property value, and that's huge for anyone that goes and buys in South Harlem who has access to Central Park. That's really, really great. There's so many other instances of that, not even just in New York, but around the country, where what you should look at is what has city planning, amongst other agencies, decided for the next couple of years as improvements for certain areas. Buy there. Don't buy areas that have already been improved. Buy where the improvement's coming, and then soak up that return value.
All right, I know you have to jet, but last question. Your daughter, is it Zena?
Yes.
She's like 1 now, maybe?
She's almost 2.
Almost 2. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I always ask new parents, what has improved in your work as a result of becoming a parent? Because I do believe that parenting teaches you, it sort of like amplifies your greatest skills, and you can apply that to a lot of things, including work. Like success can follow after having a child in your career. And so do you have an anecdote or like a superpower that you've developed since becoming a parent that's been helping you build Serhant?
I would say I have become, from the day she was born, very good at using that baby for business. I don't know what I've learned because I have her, but there's nothing like a baby to get other parents as clients, especially when they're moving because they just had a baby. And now I don't have to say, I totally get it. Now I can say, I understand. Here's what I'm going through too. And you empathize, right? The baby allows me to empathize with other people who have children in a way that I've never been able to do before. And then we share baby stories, we laugh about them, we cry about them, and the next thing they know, they're buying more homes.
And they're giving you all their money. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and then Zena, when I come home, she sits there with the calculator, and she's like, how much money did I make today?
She's getting her commission.
Yeah.
Open up that custodial.
She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, you didn't make me sign anything when I came out of mom. This is 50-50. I'm like, I don't understand. She's very tough with me. She keeps a knife in her diaper.
Okay. Well, and there you have it, everybody. I like to end on a high note. Ryan Serhant, thank you so much. Good night to you.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you on $1 Million Listing New York Season 9.
Yes. Coming soon, early next year, hopefully.
All right, my friend. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye.
And thanks, everyone, for joining.